I'm a big advocate of starting with the big picture, and then as your skill level increases, you can focus on the smaller and smaller elements, which probably sounds like an obvious way to learn. But stop and think even for a second about how everybody learns anything, and you'll realize that we do things the complete opposite way around. We almost always start by learning things at the lowest level rather than getting an overview of what's involved first. For example, a language lesson almost always starts with words or a sentence, and a music lesson with trying to play a tune. But how does that sentence or that tune fit into the bigger picture? Think about anything any teacher has taught you and answer the following questions. Were you given an overview of what the goal was? Were you told what was going to be involved in learning the subject? And importantly, were you told why you were going to be learning the subject? Or, by any chance, were you just dropped into learning facts and figures straight away with little or no explanation of any of these big picture questions? Write your thoughts on that in the comments, and hopefully there will be a plethora of people saying they have always been given a fantastic overview of whatever they have been learning. My life experience is not yours, and that's totally cool. That was a bit of a tangent, but I'm aiming to help people think more about learning in general, and not only about music. But let's get back to learning about how to read music notation and answer those big picture questions for this topic. Firstly, why would you want to learn to read music? This was covered in the first video in this series, but a quick recap. It allows you to speak the same language as other musicians. It forces you to go slow, which is great because that will allow you to learn more vital things about music during the process. Being able to read standard notation allows you to share music, take music home after a lesson to practice, and to play music written by other people. And finally, for guitarists specifically, it forces you to know the names of the notes at each fret of your guitar, which sadly a system such as tab doesn't really give you. But that said, guitarists should still also use tab. What is our goal in learning to read music? Our goal is to be able to comfortably read the notes written on the page and to be able to play them on our instrument to make music. We want to be fluent at reading music and to be able to do it at a speed which is similar to the speed and ease at which we can read our native written language. And we want to be able to understand all the markings, symbols, and contextual subtext the music notation has, so that we can express music as vividly and enjoyably as possible. Put another way, we want to be ninjas at turning this sort of thing into awesome music. What is involved in learning to read music? There are three main elements here. The first is you need to know the names of the markings or notes on the page. For example, this is called an E, and this is called a G sharp. So that is basically a picture memory challenge. You need to recognize the position of the notes, which are basically circles drawn on lined paper, and recall their specific names. The second main element in learning to read music is you need to know the names of the notes on your instrument and how to create them. So on guitar, you change the length of the strings with one hand and then pluck the strings with the other. And the notes created at each fret have different names. On a piano, you press down the white and or black keys to create notes, and you need to know the name of each note each key creates. The third and final element you need to learn about in order to read music notation successfully is counting. You need to be able to count and to play a note for its correct duration. That is to say, when you create a note, you need to keep it going and then stop it when the music tells you to stop it from sounding. To finish off this overview video, before we dive into the smaller details of how music notation actually works, here is my list of what you should treat yourself to in order to learn to read music as well as humanly possible, and to achieve your best level of music literacy. None of these are essential, but if you want the best results for yourself, then this is the list to give you that. Top of the list is a good teacher. A good teacher is the most important guide in learning anything. I'll link my video in the description on how to choose the best teacher for you, and I'll say some things in that video that I don't think I've ever heard anyone say. The second thing you should treat yourself to is a good beginner book for whatever instrument you are learning. Obviously, if it's for guitar, piano, bass guitar, ukulele, or drums, I recommend my books, but I wrote them, I am biased. But they are the best books. I'll link videos to my books for anyone who is interested again in this video's description. And the third and final thing you should definitely treat yourself to is my Note Maestro app, which is solely focused on getting you to recognize the notes needed in order to be able to read music. It is the quickest way to get better at recognizing notes, and it is useful almost regardless of what instrument you are learning. If money is no issue and you really want to be the best you can be, then get all 3 things that I've just listed. If money is super tight, then just get the Note Maestro app and keep watching my free videos on YouTube. And if you wanted the one thing that will give you the most overall improvement in making music for the smallest financial investment, then get yourself a good beginner book. A good book is such a good investment, and books are ridiculously cheap if you look at how much information you learn compared to other methods of learning, especially if the book is well written. I'm Pete Cook. Go check out my website, soundtuition.com, and have a sublime day listening to music.